All right, everybody, welcome to Cleveland Heights City Council Committee of the Whole meeting. It is Monday, June 30th at, that's not the right time, 5:33. Thank you. Eddie, would you call the roll?
Cobb.
Here.
Huda.
Here.
Petrus. Here. Larson. Here. Maddox.
Here.
Russell. Posh.
I think Russell's on her way, and is Posh on?
Posh on Zoom.
Posh is on Zoom, okay.
Posh is on Zoom.
There we go, it's confirmation. So the first thing we're gonna do is go into executive session. This will probably be an hour or more. So do I have a motion? Yes.
Yes, I would like to make a motion that we go into executive session to A, preparing for, conducting, or reviewing negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees or their representatives concerning such employees' compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment. And B, to consider the lease or sale of city-owned real property and to consider confidential information related to the marketing plans, specific business strategy, production techniques, trade secrets, or personal financial statements of an applicant for economic development assistance or to negotiations with other political subdivisions respecting requests for economic development assistance is necessary to protect the interests of the applicant or the possible investment or expenditure of public funds to be made in connection with the economic development project.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All right, Eddie, go ahead and call the roll.
Cobb.
Aye.
Huda.
Aye.
Petrus.
Aye.
Larson. Aye. Maddox.
Aye.
All right, so we're gonna go into executive session. Okay, thank you. All right, we're back from that long executive session. Thank you for hanging in with us. The mayor just left and so did the finance director, so we're gonna skip item number 4. And we're gonna skip item number 5. And I'm gonna throw in committee reports here because that was inadvertently left off of the agenda. Does anybody have a committee report with any legislation that they want to talk
Just have
about?
a comment.
Oh, go ahead, please go ahead.
Just have a comment. I would like to thank Eric, the director and director of finances, for finding the money for the Merchants Association from the ARPA funds and sending the email to let us know that it was got it.
You saw it.
Yes, so thank you very much. No, I did not, but my Councilman Cobbs let me know that you had sent the email, so now we can kind of move forward with the Merchants Associations. So thank you so very much. Appreciate it.
Council President, just one.
Yes.
Oh, yes, yeah.
If and when you see the email, you thought that it was worth a conversation, either with the committee or council, we'll talk about the use of those funds, since initially they were intended for individual businesses. So I think we want to clarify with you.
No, we have some for association as well. Well, we'll do it in a committee.
Yeah, I think we should.
Let's do it
talk
in
about
a committee.
And just so you know, we will be doing legislative review. Go ahead.
Okay, yes, so I had an Administrative Services Committee meeting earlier, and at that time, we discussed some legislation or proposed legislation, and I sent copies of all of that legislation to council members last Friday. I also sent a copy to the Law Department for approval as to form. The first legislative item is the prior ordinance number 131-2024, which was an ordinance that the mayor had previously proposed, amending our chapter 105 to add a new point 105.03 rules for city emails. I reviewed that. I made a few non-substantive changes to what had been proposed, and I will get those to the, I already sent you, the law director a copy of my proposed changes. Also, I drafted some legislation to add a new section to 105.04 to prohibit the review or access of city email accounts of employees or elected officials without consent or lawful approval pursuant to the Ohio Public Records Law. Another piece of legislation adding to Chapter 105, Section 105.05 to prohibit the use of city social media accounts and email systems for political messaging and limiting their use to official informational purposes only. I sent copies of that previously. There was a suggestion made by President Kuda, and I'm going to add an additional number the documents available as one of the documents from my Administrative Services Committee. I'm going to add an additional provision to 105.05B that will prohibit expressing a personal opinion or viewpoint or words to that effect. I will work on that and get the revisions out to everyone, including the law department. And then lastly, an ordinance amending chapter 121.05 rules and regulations relating to the mayor's authority over city property. This proposed ordinance would change existing 121.05 to give city council with a vote of 5 a veto over any uses or changes that the mayor wants to make with the care, control, or use of city property. So it just added an additional paragraph to the current ordinance. So if there was a use that the mayor made or he did something in respect to the property that we did not agree with, 5 council members could overrule that use.
Go ahead.
During the Administrative Services Committee, you discussed, since we're talking about the emails anyway, the additional legislation that was in the committee and just combining that conversation to roll out any email policy or so.
Well, there was no email policy prior to the mayor's introducing 105.03 previously. And so I didn't make any substantive changes to that. The only real change was I've actually broadened it to include employees and also to prohibit the use of city emails by anyone that wasn't a city employee or a contractor for the city.
And I apologize if I'm not hearing right. So you took that and you added aspects of it into what you drafted, is that what you mean? Some of those?
Right.
Okay.
I broadened the legislation to go beyond just the mayor or city council, but to include employees as well.
Okay, I thought it was that legislation was still separate now. So when you took the 2 that we had then and just combined them in what you did.
Well, I took the mayor's prior legislation and I revised it, and he may agree or not agree. So I'd ask everyone to take a look at that. At the end of the committee meeting, I did ask the committee whether they wanted to entertain a motion to move all of these proposed ordinances forward, and there was an affirmative vote by all 3 members. So I will ask the law director again to take a look at these as to form, and I'll get the change to you tomorrow.
Okay. Is your intention to introduce them at the next meeting?
As emergency legislation to pass at our next city council meeting on July 7th.
We need to show up ready to.
So is this legislation okay for the law director to look at, or is it going under the lawyer that council is hiring?
The law director has copies. He needs to approve it as to form
Okay.
until if we are able to get the contract signed with the law firm, then I would have him review it and discuss it with him. But I'm not sure we'll be able to have that done. I think this legislation is so important, and I hate to play law director, but I think it's on pretty solid ground. And so we're going to take a chance if we're not able to get it looked at by another outside lawyer.
Actually-
I'm very happy about doing that. But you actually sound very happy about doing that. But yeah, and the councilman sent this to law specifically for review as to form only. And just so everyone knows, also said he didn't need anything before today, so we will get into that this week.
Okay. By the way, we need to set up something for this week. Because we have a meeting coming up a week from today. Any other committee reports legislatively? Okay.
One more comment.
Okay, quick.
No, I just wanna know when do we, for legislation that we had that will be going to the second lawyer, that's after, we haven't did an agreement yet.
Here's the thing. The legislation was passed a week ago
Mhm.
and it takes 10 days.
Mhm.
So,
So nothing has been filled out.
right,
Okay.
well, but in 3 days,
Okay,
you know,
no, cause we still have legislation sitting, waiting, so I just need to know when to move it to the next step.
yeah.
Okay,
If the next step is you running it by Steve
correct.
Byron, I don't know, I can't keep it. I think you have in 3 days you can do that.
Okay.
And he'll ask me,
Mhm.
you know, is this okay, that kind of thing. Just, I'm gonna say yes unless it's something I've not heard of previously. Who had their hand up? Okay, go ahead.
So, Mr. President, for clarification, we're talking about number of days until we can engage with him. So am I understanding correctly that we're talking about needing to wait 10 days because the legislation has not been signed
Correct.
and that it will take automatic effect in 10 days without a signature? Okay, and
Thank you
then
for spelling that out.
after it takes effect, is there anything else a question for the law director that council has to do in order to engage with Mr. Byron?
Just need a signature.
Okay.
What if the legislation is vetoed? Or
Oh,
we
well,
pass that?
no, I mean, that could happen.
Can we at some point find out city council members' availability for later this month in the event that there is a veto of that legislation? And potential veto of this other legislation that we're gonna introduce and hopefully vote on Monday? Just tossing that out there.
Well, I think you'd have to veto it before you guys would have a meeting on the 7th, so on the 7th you could,
We'll know whether we need to.
yeah,
All right.
On the
Yeah.
Singerman piece.
yeah.
And then on the other legislation, I don't know whether we will wait until August if it does get vetoed.
Well, that's one option and obviously.
This, yeah.
You know, if we wanna do a tentative, you know, come up with a tentative date, just in case at the 7th meeting, I'm fine with that. I mean, I know we could do that now, but we have to do legislative review before we go out there.
Well, and are we still doing CIC?
No,
No.
no,
Oh, okay, let
we
me.
we got a reprieve on that.
Okay, because he was emailing me about something.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
feel free to email me.
Okay,
Uh,
okay.
So what we have here is first readings consideration for adoption, 135-2025. Resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Space Saver Corporation through the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Program for the provision of new lockers to be installed in the police department locker rooms. And this is replacing some other legislation that we had, just like this.
Sorry, which one?
135, yeah. Always start at the beginning.
No, this is just,
It is.
oh, it is, you're right, sorry. I'm not following this one.
Thank you, Mr. Helton. So, just assuming no questions, 136 is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a contract with Zone Company to assist in updating the city of Cleveland Heights sign regulations.
It seems to be a really important thing to do right now, to update, and it also will give you consistency, and so I'm not for this.
And this will be throughout the city?
Yes.
I remember you talking about this right around Christmas time of a year and a half ago. So I'm glad that's happening. 137, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Home Repair Resource Center. Get that wrong every time. Program management, and this is money for down payment assistance. So I'm gonna assume everything's going well with that,
They're
right?
going more than well, they're oversubscribed, so this is moving up the revenue replacement dollars that we had set aside for them to start to.
So really what we're doing here is we were doing it little by little just to make sure that, you know, and if, let's just say it was going slow, we might have reallocated.
Right.
Okay, got it. 137, 138, a resolution approving a petition for Cedar Fairmount SID. It's basically the same they've done.
And if you will
They're
notice on this one, sorry,
Yeah,
if you look on this one, it's not being read as an emergency, but it is asked to be passed on first reading, so you do have to suspend the rules on two reading. So you'll need a motion to suspend the rules on that motion.
I asked about that,
Yeah.
because every other time.
Yeah, that's why I have it on there.
Thank you for that.
But you can't actually do this one as an emergency statutorily, it takes 30 days to take effect, but all the more reason it needs to be adopted as soon as possible, because then you have 4 more pieces of legislation to adopt before the second day, second Monday in September.
We always target this legislation has to happen before the recess, so the 30 days burns off during the recess
Yeah.
for when we come back.
All right, second readings, we have 118, a resolution approving the adoption of the 2026 tax budget. Very routine piece of legislation we do.
Quick question, if I could.
Yeah.
On the chart that we have, there are often numbers in red. What is the significance of those red numbers?
Red is usually
In the chart, statement of fund activity. Is there any particular reason?
It might have just been copied over from a prior year and you didn't change the font color. There's no significance to that.
Thank you.
I know, red is usually a warning.
Yeah, no.
Nice, trying to condition that. Any other questions on 118? And then we have for fourth reading, 63-2025. This is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a real estate purchase agreement for the property located at South Overlook and Cedar Roads. It's a little over a half acre. The proposal is to sell that property to develop 3 condos. Any discussion? I think I heard a cricket. All right. In that case, we've finished legislative, I keep turning around.
It's just
It's not,
Right.
7:21.
it's, okay.
I thought you was looking for Posh.
Yeah.
Oh, I should, you know what, I should do.
He will have raised his hand.
I know, but you could just ask him if he had something to say.
You know, Council, Vice President Russell wants to know if Councilman Posh has anything he wants to say. I'll give you credit for that. He's-
Sorry about that. No, I don't at this time.
All right, thank you. Is there anything else? In that case, this meeting will be adjourned at 7:22
Wow.
and we'll be out there at 7:30.